President Trump cruises to victory with a record-breaking Republican turnout.
Trump got more total votes than Obama got as an incumbent.
Republican turnout operation in Texas is extraordinary.
Complete domination.
Receiving more primary votes than any sitting president.
We're winning. We're winning all over.
We had record turnout for an incumbent president.
The Republican Party has never been unified like it is now.
Turnout was also huge for Donald Trump.
President Trump celebrating a record-breaking victory.
It's not even a party, it's a movement.
More than President Obama had by a wide margin.
Let's realize how good Donald Trump's political operation is.
To all Americans tonight, I'm with you, the American people. I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. And we are going to keep America great.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Women for Trump Empower Hour. We're so excited to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we're going to discuss the bold and decisive actions that President Trump has taken to protect Americans and bolster our economy. We'll also look ahead to November. While President Trump is focused on the health and safety of the American people, we here at the campaign and the RNC are committed to defeating the Democrats and how all of you at home can help us and join in this fight. So first, I want to welcome our guests today. We're joined by a couple of incredible women. First, Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel of the Republican National Committee, Chairwoman Lara Cox of the Michigan Republican Party, and Dr. Merlin Carson, who serves on our advisory board at Women for Trump. Ladies, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, so Ronna, I'm going to start with you. Democrats like Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi are using this crisis to push through their job-killing agenda, to undermine the integrity of our election process, and to launch yet another bogus investigation of our president. Now, while we know that they won't let a crisis go to waste, why do Democrats insist on playing political games during a time like this, when really we should all be united together as one country against coronavirus?
You're exactly right, Lara. We've seen Democrats over and over again try to politicize this country in a time of crisis and attack our president as he's leading us through this crisis. The president's the one who took decisive action in January to cut off travel to China as Democrats were trying to impeach him. The president pushed through the CARES Act to get money to small businesses and people who are struggling in this economy. And Democrats held that up for over a week to try and get this wish list in of election reforms and corporate board reforms and things that had nothing to do with coronavirus. I think it's shameful, but our president is not going to let that get him down. He is laser focused on the American people. He doesn't care what party you're from. He just wants to make sure that we get our country healthy, safe, and back to work.
That is right. He is defending the American dream for every single American citizen. We want to make sure that we continue to see that happen. So when we look at the beginning stages of the COVID-19 outbreak, the president's decisive leadership and early actions, without a doubt, protected the health and safety of the American people. The president also enlisted the top healthcare companies in this country to furiously work on remedies and vaccines to defeat the invisible enemy. Dr. Carson, you are a physician by trade, and your company specializes in healthcare operations and population health. Why is it so important that we follow the president's guidelines for social distancing?
Well, first, I'll say the president's done a great job in terms of, like Ronna mentioned, restricting travel, bringing great smart people together to create the task force and implementing several different programs. Social distancing is important. In epidemiology, you'll see it's about infection prevention and containment. We need to be able to contain the virus, and the only way to do that is to prevent spread.
Yeah. And the reason that I think the president has been so strong on this is because it's proven social distancing works. Some people that I think we all want to give a big shout out to, the frontline healthcare professionals. They're out there every day at the very front of this fight. They're incredible. The nurses, the doctors, the custodial staff at all of the hospitals around the country. President Trump has done, Dr. Carson, quite a bit to support them. What has he been doing to support our healthcare?
Well, I think it's he's done several different things, not just for healthcare professionals. I think it's across the country. The public-private partnerships where a lot of these companies and corporations are stepping up to create masks. I think we have like MyPillow, for instance, creating masks and ventilators. So that is a great thing because we need those supplies to get to the folks that need it. And those are the frontline workers in the hospital systems. I will say across the nation as well, Paycheck Protection Program, the $2 trillion stimulus program was incredible. It supports a lot of small businesses. It supports people that are out of work. And part of that program also supports surveillance data, which is very, very important because we need that data to better understand the coronavirus and the spread of it and who is, getting treated, how are they responding to it. So that's really important. And that's part of that stimulus package.
Yeah. All right, Chairwoman Cox, I want to turn to you very quickly. We've seen that the president has been constantly in contact with governors all across this country, making sure that every state has what they need. How has the president's response to the governors impacted states like Michigan?
The governors, like strong Democrat governors like Governor Cuomo or Governor Newsom, have been very They appreciate all the strong leadership that the president has done to increase testing and supplies to their states. And unfortunately, we are not seeing that here in Michigan with Governor Whitmer. She is playing politics instead of really having strong leadership to protect the people of Michigan and working with the administration. So through all that, the president has done his job. Number one, to make sure he's protecting all the people across the country, and especially here in Michigan, putting aside the political rhetoric and focusing on making sure people are safe and strong. And so we want to make sure that we continue that all across our country. And we're so thankful for the president.
Chairwoman McDaniel, I want to bring you into this. You're also from Michigan. What do you think about Michigan Democrats' response here?
So we have a governor here who's running for vice president, and she has turned this crisis into a platform to run for vice president. In fact, we have all these businesses closed in Michigan, non-essential businesses, found a way to get a T-shirt made for her vice president candidacy. So it's really been shameful. It's been hard to deal with because she's laying blame at the president's feet at a time where he is bringing help and aid to everyone in the country, bringing in the private sector, innovating, working as hard as he can. And she even went to Michiganders and said the president was being punitive and telling vendors not to work with our state because he didn't like her, which is so false. And it is another example of Democrats politicizing in a time of crisis, and it does a disservice to the people in our state and across the country. Let me be clear. The president doesn't care if it's a Democrat or Republican governor. He's working with everybody. It is all hands on deck. It is a whole of America approach, and he is doing everything he can to make sure we get through this virus and get our economy humming again.
Yeah, in fact, I think two of his biggest champions throughout this whole crisis have been Democrat governors, Governor Andrew Cuomo here in New York, and also we see Gavin Newsom out in California have had very positive things to say about the president. You know, they probably don't like saying them, but they've been saying them nonetheless and talking about how responsive he's been, how great his task force and administration have been to work with them. So great points there. All right, everybody sit tight. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk more about the campaign and how we are moving forward to help President Trump. Stay right there.
Ready to go?
This is a crisis.
This is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia.
Biden's son inked $1 billion deal with a subsidiary of the Bank of China.
China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They're not bad folks.
Since the outbreak, the Communist Party has been mobilizing overseas organizations to buy local supplies and send them to China.
It is in our self-interest that China continue to prosper. What a beautiful history we wrote together. Banning all travel will not stop it.
The president is right. That travel restriction on China, as every public health official we've talked to said, bought the country time.
That was a very smart move right there.
Hysterical xenophobia. Dear mine. Xenophobia. I complimented him on dealing with China. I'm not going nuts.
All right, so welcome back, everybody. We've been talking about how we're all coping through staying home, and there is peace of mind with President Trump at the helm, working tirelessly to get states the resources they need. So how can we help President Trump? Chairwoman McDaniel, how can women stay engaged and informed in the president's campaign efforts? Because we know we got a big fight as we head towards November.
Well, thank you. We have to help this president. You know, he's got to govern and he's got to focus on the country. And let me promise you, he's not thinking about the campaign right now. But we have to have his back because we have to reelect him, especially with the great job he's doing right now. Like he said, I got this economy going once, I can get it started again. And that is so true. So we are calling voters across the country with Trump Talk. You go to GOP.com and you register as a volunteer. Get engaged. We're making phone calls all across this country to elect Republicans, talk to our neighbors, register voters. But that's the best way you can get involved. If you can donate a little, I know that's hard to do, but anything you can do to help. The Democrats are still fundraising. They're already running negative ads against the president. So any little bit makes a huge difference right now.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank all of you ladies, and I want to just ask each of you, does anyone have great advice for moms out there, for families out there, for anybody out there that's going a little stir crazy? Anything that you've done with kids, that you are cooking, that you're doing in, I guess, an abundance of free time? Anybody got any thoughts on that?
So I have a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. And it's really hard to homeschool pre-calc and physics. I'm not that smart. But we have played a lot of games like Clue, and we've been making family dinners. And there is, as scary as these times are and as uncertain they are, and it's really hard on teenagers to be away from their friends. Yeah. We can't appreciate the time together as a family. And I beat them all at all the games, so I love it.
We're going back to the board games, and Rana is winning. Chairwoman Cox, do you have any thoughts or suggestions?
Well, I have two college students, boys, that I forgot how much they can eat are at home. So that is, I'm cooking more than I'd like to because I was an empty nester, but I'm really enjoying the time that I get to have with my family, and also using all the digital options to make sure I'm touching base with my daughter in San Francisco, my daughter who's a nurse in Mississippi, and my granddaughter. So we're really, focusing on the family, blessed that everybody's healthy, and just enjoying this time, and we will always remember this.
Yeah. Dr. Carson, how about you?
I have a little 8-year-old and a newborn, so I've been keeping busy. My 8-year-old is doing virtual school, but we've been busy in terms of the work as well, because we're out there on the front lines, supporting a lot of the states. So it's been great in terms of technology to keep her engaged and keep her in touch with her grandparents who are on self-quarantine right now. And she does these little games. She plays the piano and sends it to them as a video and has them guess and see what music it is that she's playing for them.
That's fun. That's a good idea. I love it. We can play that on, I'll try Luke on the xylophone with that. We'll send it to Mimi and Grandpa. Well, ladies, I just want to say thank you so much. Thanks for being great fighters out there for this president. Chairwoman McDaniel, Chairwoman Cox, Dr. Carson, and thank you for being with us this afternoon and sharing important information that will inspire and empower us to continue our efforts and keep our spirits high during this unprecedented time. We're so fortunate to have a wartime president to lead us through this global challenge. So thank you all for being here, and thanks to you at home for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. for Team Trump Online. Until then, stay safe, everybody.
America is being threatened by an invisible but deadly enemy. President Trump is leading an unprecedented response to this threat, making the tough call early by banning travel from China and coronavirus travel from China and coronavirus epicenters, declaring a national emergency, mobilizing scientists, doctors, and nurses to treat patients and find a cure, testing more people than any other country, investing billions of dollars to help develop a vaccine. And President Trump is putting American workers and families first by increasing unemployment insurance, providing paid sick leave, fighting for direct checks to families, and helping small businesses survive. Together, we will defeat this pandemic and emerge safer, stronger, and healthier than ever. Because we are America, the greatest country on earth.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.